Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken-Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
I can hear all your breathing.
Welcome back to Kickin' with the Rickens here, redefining your retirement, giving breath to your retirement, folks. The retirement planners, Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken-Provost out of St. Louis with Ricken Financial. You can get in touch with them at rickenfinancial.com, helping protect and preserve the retirement you deserve. And guys, we always have such a ball here, and I truly mean it when I say I love the positive energy and all the humor that you bring to the table here. And we are gonna laugh our way to retirement and talk about some serious stuff here a little bit later on in form of tax-free retirement. But we had a big weekend, didn't we?
We did indeed. Sorry, I had just told Dad I could hear him breathing right before we started. So, you know.
And you put the breath in retirement.
And you put the breath in retirement. Absolutely.
I have very few jobs around here. That is one, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You got one job. And you did it well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was an awesome weekend. We got to celebrate my aerospace engineer husband because he loves airplanes so much. He does it for a living. And he also, his biggest hobby is flying airplanes. So he's had his private pilot's license for many years. And he finally got to take his IFR on Friday and passed. So he is now instrument rated so he can fly in those clouds.
That's incredible. Now, he's gotten rated for that, but I would think if it's just my hobby, I don't know that I'd want to do something quite so on the edge. I mean, I know that that's something people do all the time, Heidi. Mm-hmm. So do you have any qualms about him? Oh, hey, I'm going to, it's nice and foggy out. I'm going to go for a nice afternoon flight. I mean, is that something y'all discussed, or did he just go off and do the darn thing?
At the end of the day, I actually don't even know why he went for his instrument rating because I don't think he ever plans on flying through the clouds.
Although some clouds do appear, some storms appear. Nowhere.
Actually, when he was flying down to the test, he had to change his pattern because he flew on the edge of a storm to get there.
It was pretty outstanding when he showed it to us.
Yeah.
It was pretty outstanding. It was really impressive.
But, most people on the weekends will, if they're going to watch something on Saturday morning, it's the news or something fun to catch up on. He'll watch YouTube videos of private pilots crashing so he can learn from their crash.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
learn how not to do that.
Yeah.
Wait, and then in your experience, Heidi, and I love laughing with you and Gerry. I would think that your equivalent of that would be watching YouTube videos of the stock market crashing.
I know, right? Seriously, it's how
not, how
exactly.
best to around financial storm or something like that.
Oh yeah. No, I'll walk in there. He'll be drinking coffee and watching some person crash their plane and learning how to not do it. I'm like,
that's an expensive hobby. That's an expensive hobby if you crash it. That's very expensive.
I wonder if they have, they have war reenactors. I wonder if they have I know they reenact crashes for investigations, but I wonder if they have people that go and LARP with plane crashes. That would be pretty morbid and terrible.
I know, right?
I wonder.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. They do all that stuff with CGI nowadays, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
That would be way less expensive. Maybe. I hope way less expensive. Anyway, Gerry, any big things you unearthed from the weekend over there? Was it a chill weekend?
I had the ability to have a couple beers with Stephen and celebrate. So that was a lot of fun. So
absolutely.
It was a family event, except for Will. He was out of town at a football game in Tuscaloosa. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So who was? I didn't even keep up.
They played Mizzou.
Okay. And I have no idea how that went. It
didn't go well for Mizzou.
Okay. I had a feeling.
Spoiler alert, I don't think my brother cared either way.
Yeah, he was having a fun time.
There you go. Oh,
he's never really been into sports, so he was there for the fun with some friends.
That is
and
fair.
that's one thing he's always been into is fun, just like the rest of the family. So
I think it runs in the family. It might be genetic.
I certainly do believe that.
I love it. Well, I'm getting contact fun just from doing these podcasts with you guys. Okay, so I always love coming on here and having a good laugh. But today, y'all have popped the can on a really interesting subject, and one that, frankly, I didn't think that was possible. And I'm just going to read the subject line and let you guys riff here: tax-free retirement. Now, I didn't know there was anything that was tax-free unless it was like a sales tax holiday on a specific day of the year or something like that. And even then you could argue if that's even true or not. So what does that mean and how does one get there? And I guess we'll start with you first, Heidi.
Yeah. So we always hope that this is actually the goal of the two of us. Everyone that we meet with, we would love for you to retire without the burden of tax. So there's a lot that you can do to prepare if you have time to prepare prior to your retirement so that you can retire tax-free. But there's multiple streams of income that you may or may not be aware can become tax-free retirement for you in your future.
And Heidi, you mentioned if you have a lot of time before you retire, but even while you're in retirement, we can show you how to get there as well. So don't discount the fact that even though you're retired and you're paying taxes, we believe that we can eventually get you tax-free.
And a lot of people think, okay, this is too good to be true. What's the catch? There is no catch. You know what it takes? Some future tax planning. And this is my gripe. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I hate being a historian. When we go and do your tax return, the only thing we can look at is the past, really. I mean, there's a little bit you can do in the next calendar year to take care of the past tax year. But you have to forward plan for taxation in order to take advantage of tax-free retirement in your future and, other tax savings that might be available to us before January 1st of 2026 when our rates go back up again.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure people take advantage of that because we do have a tremendous opportunity this year and next year. And we don't know beyond that, but we know what the tax law is for the next 2 years, and we can help you design something that really is advantageous for you and your family long term.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for sure. So you mentioned there's steps that people can take beforehand, and I mean you're not promising people, hey, and have a tax-free pre-retirement too. I mean you've got to pay Uncle Sam at some point. That's just inevitable. Assuming we're trying to be legal, which we are. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
But you mentioned a couple of steps people can take even before retirement. Let's say someone's in that 5 or 10 year window before they at least plan to retire. What do you all recommend or steps, even people like me that are years before retirement, maybe trying to take to get themselves to that level once they cross the retirement threshold?
Yeah, so let's talk one of the first streams of retirement income that can be tax-free for you in the future. HSAs, those health savings accounts. We're not talking FSAs, those ones that you lose each year, but HSAs are health savings accounts that you're subject to a maximum of how much you can put into it every single year while you're working, but it's tax-free income to cover medical expenses. And prior to age 65, if you take money out of those for non-qualified medical expenses, there's a 20% excise tax on that. So you have to pay a penalty and tax on it. But a lot of people will fund their HSA and think, okay, this is great. This is tax-free. So I'm just going to spend it year after year on my medical expenses. We have a different idea of what you should be doing with your HSA.
We believe that you should build your HSA just like you would build a Roth account. Mm-hmm. Because in the future, this thing will be tax-free in retirement, and we want that to grow and grow and grow. So what we suggest is maximizing your HSA while you're working, going ahead and paying your copays and all those other things outside of your HSA with other funds, with just your earnings, and allow those funds in the HSA to grow tax-free, tax-deferred, and eventually be tax-free in retirement. So you can pay for things like, any dental, any eye, any hearing.
Oh my God! Even just last week, we were talking to a client, and he was like, "Okay, so I hate going to the dentist, and I finally went, and they told me if I want to be able to chew without dentures in the future, I have to do like $75,000 of implants in my mouth."
Ouch.
Can you imagine how beautiful that would be if you didn't have to pay tax on income coming into you to cover that cost?
Yeah, that's
because
a good point.
If you think about it, when we have these large medical expenses, most people have to add if he had to pay $75,000 for his mouth, you have to add $120,000 to your taxable income to get $75,000 after tax to pay for it.
Yeah, that's a great point, is the embedded cost. And then there's also inflation too, right? If you're planning
that's
for
exactly right.
At age 45 years old, what's it going to cost when you're 65? So that's a great point.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. And so in the future, how beautiful would it be to have an extra form of savings that can be tax-free for you for any form of your medical expenses? Because we also have this issue. 7 out of 10 of us are going to need long-term care in the future. And if you need some money to help offset that long-term care cost, you can do it with tax-free income through your HSA.
You can also pay for your long-term care premiums with HSA money too, tax-free. So that's another beautiful thing. The other thing that people don't realize, a lot of people, we always talk about, retiring early. And early, Doug, means retiring before 65. That's our definition of early because of the healthcare issue. Trying to get that healthcare coverage before you're Medicare eligible. That is what we're talking about. So what we do is we can take the HSA money and actually pay for COBRA. You can have COBRA for 18 months after you leave your employer, and you can use your HSA money to cover that as well.
I had no idea that HSA money could do all these things. I know. Done here, yeah.
Well, and another fun fact, by the way, this is the only time it's not tax-free. But after the age of 65, you can actually use your HSA for whatever you want without having to pay that excise tax on it of that 20%. So, it just becomes ordinary income in the future. So say you live a long, healthy life and you still have money left in your HSA, you can take it out and pay the tax on it and do something fun with it. But there's a lot of flexibility in your HSA, and it can perform very nicely for you in the future when you have any medical issues pop up. You're not going to have to put yourself in a tax burden to cover the cost of those.
So HSA can be very, very flexible in retirement, but we just want you to know that you don't have to spend it each year. That's something that's kind of a misnomer. People believe they have to spend it. Oh my gosh, I need to spend this. I saved it. Let's save it for the future when you need. And healthcare is getting more expensive, and as we age up, we'll need more healthcare in the future. That's typically what happens. So why not have a tax-free stream to pay for those healthcare expenses?
What other steps can people take? I mean, HSAs, I feel like I hear a whole other episode we could do just about HSAs and an even deeper dive on those, and I'm really intrigued about that. What are some other things that people could do to take steps either before or during retirement to try to maximize tax efficiency or make something tax-free?
Well, Gerry mentioned this beautiful word when we were talking about HSAs. He said it's kind of like a Roth. Well, what is a Roth? Traditional funds are those that you don't pay the tax on and you fund your retirement accounts for the future. Roth, we pay the tax up front, and then you invest in your Roth account. And as long as you're over the age of 59 and a half and it's been in Roth form for 5 years, you can touch that at any point in time for tax-free income as well. So how do you maximize your Roth, Dad?
Well, what you do is you want to see it. Doug, you mentioned what about somebody like me? Okay. Well, somebody like you, if you have a Roth option in your 401k account, put 100% of what you're contributing into that Roth option. Your employer match will go into the traditional bucket. Okay, so you can't get around that, but you have the ability to contribute into your Roth, and I would maximize it. Put as much money as you can in your Roth. Always, always, always. Everyone out there listening, if you're in a 401k account, or if you're not, shame on you. You should be if there's an employer match. If there's an employer match, you always want to put enough in there to get 100% of the employer match.
Yes,
but we would suggest
extra money.
Absolutely, it's free money sitting on the table. Sure, it'll be taxable in the future, but we can help you with that as well. But maximizing that Roth contribution in your 401k is paramount.
And if you don't have a Roth option in your 401k and you're saving something beyond your match right now, let's have a conversation, because every single year there are income limitations. If you want to open your own personal Roth outside of your work account, there is an ability for you to do that. It may or may not be tax advantage based upon how much income you have and everything. But if you fall within those confines and outside of the confines, and you can save in your own personal Roth, that's also an option. But if that income limitation's kicking in and you want to save more than your match, there's also a beautiful stream of retirement income called tax-free retirement.
And that comes in the form of life insurance. When we think about life insurance, Doug, a lot of times we think about the death benefit. When we buy life insurance, we want to pay the least amount of premium for the highest amount of death benefit because that's what we're buying it for.
I think that too, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that way. But when we talk about life insurance in this mode, we're talking about living benefits. And people don't realize there are a lot of living benefits in life insurance. One of them is a tax-free retirement stream and income. What we can do is put the most amount of premium and buy the least amount of death benefit in these policies. These policies are indexed universal life, IUL. If you ever heard the term IUL, that means indexed universal life. That means that this policy is not invested in the stock market, but tied to the stock market. It never loses, but will only gain or stay level. And you strip out as much cost as you can because one of the biggest costs in life insurance is a death benefit. You're paying for that death benefit. So the IRS says you have to have this amount of death benefit in every policy. There are limitations on how much we can strip out, but we try to lower that as much as we can, put as much cash in there so we can grow this tax-free inside the life insurance policy, and you borrow it out as you need it, and you never have to repay those policy loans. That gets paid out the gross death benefit when you eventually pass away. So it is just a tremendous additional stream of income you can have, which is tax-free in retirement.
Well, think about compounded growth. Who wants to take advantage of compounded growth when there's no tax on it? I do. By the way, PSA about IULs real quick. Say it 5 times fast and click your heels. Your algorithm will pick it up and you will get 5 million fake videos out on social media. So if you want to know more about IUL, please talk to a licensed professional. Don't watch TikToks about it because I have TikToks and Instagram shorts sent to me all the time from some of our clients and our clients' kids asking, oh, is this what this is about? And without fail, almost all the ones about IUL are fake, by the way.
Yeah, come in and talk to us.
Yeah, so we'd love to give you the real deal, the real information, the guts behind this, because we never want you to fall prey to some of that stuff on the internet.
That's right. We can show you exactly what your numbers would look like.
Well, there's so much information, and I know for me, I've thought about money and finances, which I admit in my adult life have not thought about enough. I just get inundated, overwhelmed. I'm like, it's all out there all at once. And I know I could find an opinion on each side of it. So, I mean, that's why they need to talk to you all. They could come in and you all could sit with someone before they even commit to doing any of these things and run down the options, because inevitably you're mentioning things that all sound like the really big opportunities, but they may not make the most sense for each person, depending on how much income they need or how much they have to spend or what their different factors are.
That's a good point.
And all of our planning is complimentary. So all it's going to cost you is a little bit of time and to meet with us. But, what we share is not going to be our opinion. It's what the numbers are going to show are going to happen for you financially in the future. So if you want our opinion, you can ask for it and we can certainly offer it to you. But we're here to provide advice based upon facts and figures. And, that's really what our goal is, to help you reduce that tax in the future using the most economical means. That's why we talk through all of these with our clients.
That's exactly right. And each one of these, we've said it before and we'll say it again, each one of these is like a fingerprint. Every plan is different for every person. So we want to make sure that your plan fits your needs.
And one other stream of tax-free income, there's actually a hidden tax on, and that's municipal bonds. So muni bonds, where you invest in a bond in a municipality, there's no federal tax on that. But I say there's a hidden tax because Social Security taxation is based upon something called provisional income. And when you figure out how much of your Social Security benefits are going to be taxed, even though you don't have to pay tax on your muni bonds, your Social Security taxation is based upon adding that back in as a factor. I could have an entire episode just talking about that.
About Social Security taxation.
I'm not going to bore you on that for this moment, but
I'm game for one later on, though. I'll be honest. Y'all make it attainable and interesting to me when I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, I could hear them talk about this. I don't know about just anybody. And that's what makes you all so special here. And everybody, you need to go to rickenfinancial.com because, look, they just listed, Gerry and Heidi did, HSAs, Roths, life insurance, and municipal bonds. And I'm sure there are so many others, all these other different ways you could branch off of each one. And we did that just a little bit. And I mean, are there any more? Am I forgetting any there? I've written down the ones you mentioned.
not necessarily streams of income that can be tax-free in your retirement, but say you're already in your retirement age, like you're at RMD age, those required minimum distributions that you have to take out of your 401ks.
Which is either basically 73 or 75 based upon when you were born.
So if you're born 1960 or after, it's 75. And before that, you either are aware of them because you've been paying them for a while, or it's age 73. But say you're already at that age and you hadn't done any tax planning and you have to take those required minimum distributions out of your accounts. Well, you can do what's called a QCD to help offset some of that tax. So if you're giving money to charity already, what you can do is use your required minimum distribution funds and give that money to charity. As long as it's a legitimate 501c3 through the IRS regulations. That amount that you give to charity, you don't have to pay tax on, but it'll satisfy your need for taking that RMD out of your account.
Qualified charitable distributions. Yeah, just another.
That's right.
QCDs, RMDs, IULs, all in this. IRAs.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we've covered it all today, or covered a lot of it today.
We love those acronyms.
That's right.
For sure. And then before we leave off here, are there any more things to consider within this subject matter?
There are lots of things we could talk about, but in the interest of time, we those are the biggest ones that we focus on.
And I would say we'd just love to have the conversation because every person we meet with is going to have a different answer for this. And if you want to optimize, how much you pay in tax in the future, let's have a conversation about it because you are going to have a different plan than anyone else you meet with, especially when it comes to taxes. Taxes are like a fingerprint mixed with something else. I don't know, like hair DNA too, because every single person's financial plan is like a fingerprint, but taxes take it a step further because every person we meet with is going to have a very different tax situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
They're checking my follicles right now, and I'm down.
I know, right?
Okay, so yeah, that's all right. Well,
and we're glad to have a host with hair.
Cheers to Mark Owens. Oh my gosh, yes. Although you can't see mine today, my garb is covering that up. But yeah, go to rickenfinancial.com, and set up that complimentary planning session there with Gerry Ricken and his daughter Heidi Ricken-Provost. They want to sit down with you and go through this stuff. I mean, here we are in just a little over 20 minutes, having gone through just one facet of your retirement. There's so many to go. Check out our past episodes on Apple and Spotify, and I haven't promoted this before, guys, with the Kicking with the Rickens YouTube channel. It's on there. You can listen to the episodes on that. I think y'all have some shorter like snippets from the shows on social media sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so be sure to engage with them, guys. And I'm really glad you spent the time with all of us today educating us. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure.
The pleasure's ours too. Well, we like to take this one to the house every episode the same way, and in honor of Mary Beth, we like to say here every day
is a holiday
and life is short.
Laugh hard.
Thank you so much, Gerry and Heidi. And again, everybody go to rickenfinancial.com. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Benefield, for getting this all stitched together and shot into cyberspace there. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. He's Gerry Ricken. She's Heidi Ricken-Provost. And thank you, everybody, for listening today to Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.